So we're going to start with our slung cards to get warmed up. Have your pillows, your bands, and your jumping your body just towards the end. So you can stay kneeling, standing, or sitting, whichever is more comfortable. And what we're going to do is start with our neck first, and then we'll do some thoracic cards, and then we'll come into a quadruped position. So we're going to tuck the chin down towards the chest, try and keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. And then we're going to scoop that chin out along the collarbone to look up and over the shoulder. Let's get a nice big stretch here, so hold for a second or two. And then dropping the ear down towards the shoulder. And then reaching the head back up and around, just being mindful of the back of the neck to bring the ear over towards the other side. Just getting a stretch on the other side of the neck now. And then looking over the shoulder, the right shoulder. And scooping back down and down towards the chest. Hold here for a second or two. You can interlace the fingers as well if you want, just to interlock them behind the head and get a slightly deeper stretch, so we're not pulling down, we're just using the gravity of our arms and the weight of our arms to pull us slightly down into a stretch further. And then releasing that, we're going to scoop the head and chin back out along the collarbone, look over the right shoulder, and then drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder. And then bring the head back up and around, scooping it all the way over, dropping the left ear down towards the left shoulder. And then looking over that left shoulder. Bring the chin down and along the collarbone again. We're going to bring that chin towards our chest. You can interlace those fingers again. And just gently let the weight of your arms bring you deeper into a stretch. So you might feel that going down towards your thoracic spine. You're just going to hold up for a couple of breaths. And then you can slowly release that. And we're going to bring the hands out to the side. Get a big stretch first, so squeeze the shoulder blades together, just trying to reach out to the side. And then we're going to hug ourselves, trying to bring those hands to the kind of back of our shoulder blades, tuck the chin, and just gently round through that upper section of your spine. So you're trying to keep the lower back relatively flat. And we're going to twist out towards the left-hand side. Dropping that left shoulder down, right shoulder up towards the ceiling. And then reaching back and around. Chest up towards the ceiling. Reach all the way over. Dropping that right shoulder down towards the mat. And then just rotating slightly. Scooping that chest forward, down into that forward fold. And just hold here for a second or two, taking a breath. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. And you're going to curl back up. We're going to reach those hands out to the side and swap over onto the side. And then tuck the chin, curl back down. Rotating out towards the right hand side now. Drop the right shoulder down, left shoulder up, get a nice big stretch along the left side of the ribcage. And then reach back and around, trying to lift that chest up towards the ceiling as we drop that left shoulder down towards the mat, right shoulder up, and get a nice big stretch. Just try and see if you can go a little bit further into these stretches now. And then slightly rotating through that torso. Scooping the chest down, forward. And again, just hold here for a couple of breaths. So try and breathe in and feel that ribcage expand. And then slowly exhale, feel it soften. So we're going to come into that quadruped position. And we're going to work on some shoulder circles. So not quite as big as we've done before. So these are just small controlled circles. Just get a little bit of movement coming into those shoulder blades. Just trying to roll them a couple of rounds. One direction, and then we're going to change over. I'm just making those nice kind of smooth circles and start making them a little bit bigger each time. And then staying in this position, get a little bit of tension through the core. We're just going to do 2 nice slow shoulder cards on this side. So we're going to get our right thumb facing up towards the ceiling. Imagine you've got those 2 bowls of water on your back. And we're just reaching that arm up towards the ceiling, thumb pointing up, and then twist the thumb in and around. So that bicep is twisting as you swim that hand back behind us. And then just bend the elbow, tip the back, straighten the arm, and then try and come back and around. So just trying to warm up those shoulders a little bit and come back down. One more on that side, so come up towards the ceiling, rotate in, reach back and around. Okay, guys. Hand up straight behind us. Let's tip the lower back by bending the elbow. Straighten that arm and come around. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. I'll just move around so you guys can see. But left thumb up towards the ceiling, keeping that little bit of tension through the core. And then just rotate, sweeping the hand back up and around. With a few nice clicks and cracks. Bend that elbow just to tip the hand into the lower back. And then straighten that arm, reaching back up and around. And back down. One more time on that. Hand out, come up towards the ceiling. Reaching up towards the ceiling and then rotating the bicep in and around, trying to keep the torso nice and flat. Bend the elbow, tip into the lower back. Straighten that arm, rotate the bicep out towards the side again. Back in towards the ear or the cheek, and then coming down. And what we're going to do here is just one nice slow and controlled hip car on each side. So left heel points up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold here for a breath or 2. And then try and bring the leg out to the side, keeping that same sort of 90-degree with the leg. Hold for a breath or 2. Then knee tips up towards the ceiling, foot comes down, and we slowly scoop that knee up towards our chest. So again, keeping the back flat so we don't see tailbones tucking under. And we just hold here for a breath or 2. And then slowly come down, and let's reverse it. Leg comes back up towards the chest, hold. Leg lifts up and out to the side. Let's try and hold here. So in that fire hydrant position. And then drop the knee down, ankle up, scoop back into that kick back. Squeeze the glute and hamstring, core tight, and let's hold here. And then slowly coming back down. Nice. Good control. We're going to change over onto the other side. Same idea, just one nice slow controlled hip car. Push that heel up towards the ceiling. Core tight. Try and keep that lower back flat. Make sure it doesn't drop down to the mat. So staying nice and active, and then let's bring that leg out to the side. So feeding those muscles at the side of the hip do the work. Try and keep the knee at the same level if we can. And then let's bring the knee up, foot down, and try and scoop that knee up towards the elbow and the chest. Bring it in underneath the chest, and then let's hold. And coming back down into neutral position, and then reverse it. Knee up towards the chest, hold for a second or 2. Lift up and out to the side, try and hold in that fire hydrant position. And then we drop the knee down, ankle up, scooping back into that kick back position, core tight. And then hold here. Lowering that back down. What I'm going to get you guys to do is curl the toes under, just bring the knees to the outside of the mat. Hands out in front. And we're going to do some rocks. So these are really like the loaded beast to unloads, but we just keep our knees on the ground. So we go back into a child's pose, take a deep breath. And then breathe out. And we're just pulling ourselves forward a little bit. Breathing in. Rock the hips back, get a nice big stretch. And then breathe out. Coming forward. Just doing a couple of rounds on this with our breath. So breathe in, nice big deep breath, and then breathe out as we pull ourselves forward. And then we stay in this forward position. You can curl the toes under a little bit and slightly push back. We're going to lift that left hand up and reach towards the ceiling. And then thread that arm back down, bend the right arm, just try and bring the back of the left shoulder towards the mat. You can walk the right hand out in front if you want, or you can reach that hand up and around to hook in behind the lower back and the hip. Just make sure you're comfortable in this position. I'm just going to stay here for a few breaths. So deep breath in. Trying to focus on the rib cage expanding. And slowly breathe out. We're going to take one more deep breath. So really try and fill that rib cage. And then slowly exhale. Try and bring that elbow back down towards the mat, bending the right elbow, pushing yourselves back up. And the left hand comes up and out beside our right. Exactly. And then same again, but on the other side. So right hand reaches up towards the ceiling, get a nice thoracic twist. And then exhale. Bring that right hand down to the mat, bending the left elbow. And again, you can walk the hands out overhead or reach that hand up and around and interlace behind the right thigh. Again, make sure you're comfortable here. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Taking one last inhale, deep breath in. And then breathing out, bending that elbow down towards the mat. Right hand comes back and around, and then we're placing those two hands in underneath our shoulders. The knees come back in underneath our hips. And we're going to do one or two cat-cow spine cars. So just taking these nice and slowly to start, we're going to tip the tailbone under, try and pull up through the lower abdomen and around to that lower back. It's just really nice and slowly trying to lift up through the rib cage, round through that spine, and then round through that upper back. Elongate the back of the neck and tuck that chin in towards the chest. In this position, you can rock forward and rock back slightly, trying to keep almost that hollow hold position. And then coming back in towards the center, starting from the tailbone again, we're going to tip the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Drop the lower back down, dropping the chest down. Dropping the chest bone down towards the mat and just trying to scoop it forward and elongating that neck. And in this position, you can do circles. So around in one direction. And then around in the other direction. Coming back in towards the neutral, we'll do that one more time. So start by tucking the tailbone under, rounding through that lower back. And just nice and slowly. Thinking about just each section of that spine moving. And then tucking the chin in. In this position then we can rock forward and back, maybe just getting a little bit more of a stretch into that lower back, trying to see if we can keep that pelvic tilt and right in through the spine. And then coming back into neutral, start by tipping the tailbone up towards the ceiling, dropping that lower back down towards the mat. And create that S shape with our spine as we drop the chest down. Try and scoop the chest bone forward and then chin up. And then again, making those circles, just starting on the other side this time. And then changing direction. Lovely. And then we're going to come into a wave on load. So you can either stay on your knees first, or if you want to go into a full one, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to curl the toes under, point the hips up towards the ceiling, and then just trying to round through the spine, nice and slow, like we were doing in our cat cows. And then just try and squeeze the glutes, drop the hips down, shoulders back and down, chest up. And just stay here for a breath or two. And then we're going to tuck the chin, round through that upper back. And a curve to the spine to bring yourselves nice and slowly back into a downward dog. And if we're doing the variation with your knees on the ground, you can just come back into a child's pose and then push the hips up into a downward dog. We're going to very gently pedal the feet, just trying to get a bit of stretch down to the back of the feet. And then you can just pedal those feet out to about hip distance apart. Bend the knees, drop the chest down, and then straighten the legs. Bend the knees down, drop the chest. Push the hips up towards the ceiling and straighten the legs. And then last time, drop the knees down. Make sure those hands are far enough out. We're going to go back into another wave and load. So hips go up towards the ceiling. And then we curl forward again, pulling ourselves nice and slowly. Okay, you can always do the variation with the knees on the ground if you want to take it super restorative. And then chest up. And then we're going to lower ourselves down onto the mat. The hands can come out just about shoulder height. And we're going to push up into a cobra. So you keep those feet flat on the mat. And then come back down. Left hand comes a little bit further in front and right hand comes further back down the mat. We're going to push up and look over our right shoulder towards our right heel. And then coming back down. Reposition the hands so the right hand comes up towards the top of the mat. Left hand comes further down the mat, and then push back up and look over the left shoulder towards the left heel. And then coming back down. In this position, left hand can just come into the center of the mat to rest your forehead on top of. Then we're going to just take our right foot in our right hand. And I want you to try and think about very slightly squeezing the glutes to tuck the pelvis under. And we're just focusing on getting a nice deep stretch in front of the quad. If you want to make it a little bit more active, you can squeeze the glute and try and lift the knee up off the mat, but that's purely optional. And if you are doing that variation, just lift on the exhale, breathe in on the inhale and drop the knee down. And then just releasing that foot back down towards the mat. If you want to grab a pillow, you can bring that out to the side. And what we're going to do is slightly twist onto our left side and bring that right knee up onto the pillow. So that we're in kind of like a wide figure 7 stretch. And then you try to get both hands down into the center of the mat. And just try and rotate the hips back down so it's facing down towards the mat. Really just trying to open up the inside of that hip and the groin. So again, if it's not comfortable with the pillow, if it's too much elevation, you can just use the mat or the floor. Just trying to breathe into the pelvis and into the hip. Taking 1 to 2 more breaths here. Deep breath in. Try and feel the rib cage and the stomach push into the mat on the inhale, and then pull away from the mat on the exhale. And then we're going to just lift the hands up. Bring the left hand out towards the outside of the mat. So imagine that's my left hand there. We're going to look out towards the right hand side of our mat. Right hand coming beside the shoulder. And then we're going to pick that leg up and reach back and around. So I'm getting a nice big stretch on this arm that's out behind me. And I'm just trying to get a bit of a stretch through the lower back and maybe into this leg as well. It's not comfortable having the leg behind. You can always have that knee bent in front like this to just focus on the shoulder stretch and the chest stretch. So again, just making sure you're comfortable. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. It's going to take 1 or 2 more breaths here. So deep breath in and breathe out. Just very gently see if you can push a little bit deeper into that stretch. Again, not forcing anything, but just seeing if you can go a little bit deeper. And 1 more breath. And then slowly rolling the chest back down towards the mat, bringing the legs back towards the mat. So we're facing down on our mat, and we'll do the same on the other side. So right hand can come in towards the center of the mat. You can rest that forehead on the back of the right hand. We're going to take the left foot with our left hand, getting that quad stretch. And again, very slight pelvic tilt here to try and get a nice stretch down the front of the leg into the quads. And if you want, you can do some very gentle lifts. So breathing in and then breathing out. Just very gently getting that leg up off the mat, squeezing the glute. You might get a bit of a stretch or an opening into the front of the left shoulder as well. And then just slowly releasing the left hand. We're going to take that pillow. Again, if you want to use the pillow, you can just use the mat. Bringing it out to the side. Slightly rolling over towards the right hand side and bring that left leg up onto the pillow. So we're trying to get, if possible, the knee in line with the hip or maybe a little bit higher. And then placing both hands onto the mat and our forehead onto the back of both hands. We're just trying to see if we can almost roll that hip back down so that our pelvis is square with the mat. Get a deep stretch into the inside of the groin and into the hip. And then with each breath, you're just trying to feel if there's any points of tension. Maybe notice if you're kind of holding your glutes or bracing your core and just trying to relax each one at a time. And notice if one hip maybe feels a little bit tighter than the other. We're going to take a few more breaths here. I just really want you to focus on the rib cage and the stomach, just gently pushing into the ground on each inhale. And then slowly lifting away from the mat and the ground with each exhale. And then we're going to lift our head up, bring that right hand out towards the side, palm facing down towards the mat. Left hand just beside our left shoulder. We're going to look out towards the left side of the mat. And then just trying to rotate back. If we can, bring that left leg up and over to rest onto the ground behind our right leg. If that's not comfortable, you can drop the left knee down towards the mat in front of the right leg. We're just really trying to get that nice deep stretch into the front of the right shoulder. Maybe twist into the lower back. And just really try and focus on relaxing into this position. I'm going to take a few more deep breaths here, and I just want you to try and see if you can maybe push it a little bit deeper into that stretch on each exhale. Again, not forcing anything, but just seeing if you can go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more of a stretch. And then we're going to take an inhale and just slowly bring that leg back up and around, bring it down towards the mat. We're going to face down onto the mat, hands in underneath the shoulders, and then just push yourselves back and up and push back into a child's pose. And just try and sink that head down towards the mat. If you want, you can come into a puppy pose if that's more comfortable for you to get a bit of a deeper stretch through the chest, but it's purely optional. And then we're going to slowly come back up. We're going to grab that band or strap if you have one, and we're just going to come to lie onto our backs. If you want a pillow for your underneath your head, you're more than welcome to place that as well. We're just going to do a little bit of hip and hamstring work as well. So we've done these ones before, but they're just lovely, especially if you're doing lower body yesterday. So we're going to loop that band over our left foot, and you can have the right knee bent if you want. And then what we're going to do is just hold an end of the band in each hand. We're going to bend that left knee and pull it in towards the chest, and then straighten the leg. So breathing in, pull the knee towards the chest, and then exhale, straighten the leg. And then just doing this a few times with our breath. And then when the leg is straight, I'm going to get you to straighten the right leg and try and drop the left foot over towards the right side. You can bring the left hand out for a little bit of counterbalance if you want. And then you can look out towards that left hand. So you can let the hip roll up on this one. And then we're going to bend that knee, slowly bring it back in towards the center. You can take the band off, and then we're going to try and drop the bent knee out towards the left hand side. Try and keep the right hand on the hip here. So we're just doing a very similar stretch to what we did with the pillow under our knee, but just lying on our backs now. And then bringing the left knee back in towards the center, we're going to bend the right knee, cross the left knee over the chest. And you can either stay here if that's enough of a stretch, or if you want, you can interlace the hands behind the thigh or even on top of the shin. Whatever position you're in, just try and keep the tailbone down and the back of the head down. I'm just going to hold for a few breaths here. And just try and notice where the tension is. So is it in the glute? Is it in the groin? Maybe a little bit into the lower back. Again, now that we're in this position, just try and focus on the rib cage, expanding into the mat in this position. So each inhale is like a 360 breath. Rib cage expanding back, out, and then towards the front. And just slowly release that. Drop both feet down towards the mat. We're going to take that band and just change over onto the side. So looping the band over the right foot this time. Keep the left knee bent for this. And again, we inhale, bring the knee towards the chest. And then exhale, try and straighten that leg. And just see if we can go a little bit deeper into that hamstring stretch with each exhale. And then inhaling, bringing that knee in towards the chest, exhaling, straightening that leg. Take the band in the left hand and straighten that left knee, and then we're just dropping the leg out towards the side. You can let the hip roll up here. So we're trying to get a twist through that lower back, and you can bring the right hand out to the side and just look towards that right thumb. And take one more breath here. And then exhale, we're bending that knee, rolling it back in towards the center. We can take the band to the side. Left hand on top of left hip, and then we're just trying to roll that right leg out towards the side of our mat. And then we're going to bring that leg back in towards the center. Bend the left knee, cross the right ankle over the left knee. Again, you can stay here or interlace the hands behind the right thigh or over the shin bone. And again, just notice that there's differences between this hip and the other hip. So maybe feel it more in the glute this time or more into the hamstring or groin. Again, just trying to focus on the ribcage expanding and down into that mat. The lower back just pressing gently into that mat with each inhale. And then maybe gently lifting away from the mat with each exhale. And then we're going to slowly release that. Let the left foot and the right foot come down towards the mat. And then we're just going to do a couple of hip rocks. So dropping the knees out towards one side and then knees out towards the other side. And just trying to see where you're getting a stretch. Maybe it's into the obliques or maybe lower back. And then what we're going to do is just bring our hips towards the left-hand side of the mat, drop our knees out towards the right, and our hands can come out into that long prayer position. And we're going to do some open the book stretches. So we're going to take a deep breath in and then exhale, try and slide the left hand out across the top of the chest and out towards the left. Breathing in Hand comes back. And then breathing out, slide the hand back out. And then breathing in. And then in this position, just bring the right hand on top of the left knee and try and look out towards your left thumb. Again, just noticing if the breath changes at all. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult to breathe in this position. Maybe you can feel the breath in a different part of your ribcage. And then we're going to exhale, bring the feet back in towards the center. We're going to move the hips slightly towards the right hand side of the mat and drop the knees out towards the left, both hands facing out towards the left. Taking a deep inhale and then exhale, slide that hand out across the chest and try and reach out towards the right hand side. Breathing in, hand comes back out on top of the left, and then breathing out. Reach, twist. Breathing in, and then breathing out. And then in this position, bringing your left hand on top of that right thigh and just trying to look out towards the right thumb. And then just slowly bringing those legs back in towards the center. And then what we're going to do is you've got two options. You can lie just on the ground in a kind of Savasana position, or if you want, you can kind of bolster yourself up. So you can kind of make a little bolster with a few pillows like this and place a longer pillow on top. And then if you are using this position, you can bring the feet together and then just try and lie back and down. So you can just making sure your lower back supported and that your head's supported. And you can have your hands out to the side. So it's in a reclining butterfly pose. So you don't have to be bolstered up, but it's just if you do want to. And again, if you have any blankets or anything, you can just throw that over you. And we're just going to stay here for a couple of breaths just to try and switch off and connect in with the breathing. So just make sure you're nice and warm and snug. And then just lying back and down. And if you want, you can place your hands just gently on the outside of your abdomen, or you can have your palms facing up towards the ceiling, whichever is more comfortable. And just really try and focus on slowing that inhale and then slowing that exhale. Maybe just noticing if there's any tension in your jaw or around your eyes. I'm just trying to let go. You're relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. Maybe noticing if there's any tension in the abdomen. Or maybe in your hips or lower back, and just trying to breathe into that and let it go. And just see if you're holding any tension in your quads. Maybe in your glutes. I'm just trying to release all that tension in the lower limbs, all the way down to the feet. And just starting to become aware again of your toes and your fingers, your lower limbs and your upper limbs. Just noticing any sounds around you. And then what you can do is take a deep breath in. You can reach those hands up overhead, interlace the fingers, and maybe point the toes away or take a big stretch. And then exhale, just bring those hands down towards your side again, or maybe onto your hips. And then if you do have your knees out towards the side, you can just gently bring them in together. Again, you can do little rocks side to side with the hips, just to release out any tension in the lower back. And then just gently rolling over onto your side. Pushing yourselves up into a seated position. And we're finished. I hope you guys are lovely and chill before Christmas.